5 World News.
North Korea, just one of the many topics Trump took on in those freewheeling press appearances yesterday. He also continued his public battle with Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell, saying it's a disgrace that Obamacare is still in place and challenging McConnell to get to work and get it done or else. A lighter tone with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Instead of criticizing Putin for retaliating against U.S. diplomats in Russia, the president offered sarcastic thanks, saying Putin's move will cut the payroll and save a lot of money. And the president promised to declare the opioid crisis a national emergency that would increase emergency funding to address this crisis. Whole lot there. Our senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega on hand for all of it. Good morning, Cecilia.
Hi, George. Good morning to you. This was really something. We haven't seen the president like this since February, his last press conference. This wasn't a full press conference. A limited number of White House press corps was there, but the president took question after question despite his aides calling for a wrap. He kept going. On vacation at his Bedminster Golf Club, in his most extensive exchange with reporters in months.
With that, if you have any questions, yes.
President Trump taking questions and raising eyebrows when he thanked Russia's Vladimir Putin for expelling more than 700 embassy workers in retaliation for new sanctions.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm very thankful that he let go of a large number of people because now we have a smaller payroll. There's no real reason for them to go back.
As for whether he plans to fire special counsel Robert Mueller, he says he hasn't given it any thought.
I've been reading about it from you people. You say, oh, I'm going to dismiss him. No, I'm not dismissing anybody.
And about that FBI raid at his former campaign chairman's home, President Trump says he was surprised.
I thought it was a very, very strong signal or whatever. I've always known him to be a good man. I thought it was a very, they do that very seldom. So I was surprised to see it.
The president also not backing down on his very public criticism of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
I'm very disappointed in Mitch.
Earlier this week, McConnell fired off a critique of his own.
Our new president had, of course, not been in this line of work before, and I think had excessive expectations.
But on the steps of his clubhouse, the president kept it going, hinting that McConnell might consider stepping down.
If he doesn't get repeal and replace done, and if he doesn't get taxes done, meaning cuts and reform, and if he doesn't get a very easy one to get done, infrastructure, then you can ask me that question.
Yeah, let's go back to that Russia probe. We've learned that congressional investigators now want to question the president's longtime personal secretary, Rona Graff. She's worked at Trump Tower for nearly 30 years. She is the primary point of contact for basically anyone looking to get in touch with the president. Her name was in that email chain about that Trump Tower meeting between Don Jr., others, and that Russian lawyer, George.
Yeah, she has been the gatekeeper for a long time. Cecilia, thanks very much. Let's talk about this now with our chief political analyst, Matthew Dadden. Obviously, Matt, the president had a lot to get off his chest yesterday, but it was kind of remarkable to see him tougher on Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, than on Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, watching that press conference yesterday, I was struck, reminded of two things. One, it's like a Dear Diary. Dear Diary, Mitch bad, Putin good. Or it was like the Queen in Snow White, right? And when she's mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, and then go off on this long riff. There is no rational explanation for what Donald Trump is doing with Mitch McConnell or what he said about Vladimir Putin, basically saying better things about Vladimir Putin than he did about Mitch McConnell. But we've seen this before. There was no rational explanation for him bringing up...
He needs McConnell to get his agenda through.
That's the problem. And even if Mitch McConnell is at fault in the course of this, if he wants to get any of this done, I don't actually understand. Is Donald Trump's on the golf course, probably at the turn getting a cheeseburger as he goes to the second 9, telling Mitch McConnell he needs to get back to work? It makes no rational sense.
He was having security meetings yesterday with his whole team there as well. He does appear to resist being handled, either by the new chief of staff, General Kelly, or his own press secretary, who kept sending messages saying just one more question. He kept going.
Well, it's as if he's been written about. He's been caged up, and then somebody let him off, and he wasn't going to go. He didn't want to go back, and he was freewheeling. I mean, it was giving him credit. He took a lot of questions on a lot of different topics, on many different things. But I don't think it settled anybody down. It settled the world down. And I will say one thing. He was honest at one thing. The world has never seen something like this. He's right about that.
One major piece of policy yesterday, now declaring a national emergency on the opioid crisis.
Yeah, and obviously many Americans. I had a sister a few years years ago who died from opioid addiction, who left 3 young children behind. It's a scourge of the country right now. But fundamentally, they have to decide, is it a funding problem where they're going to give more money to Medicaid to solve this problem with treatment? Or are they going to make more law enforcement, which I don't think will fundamentally solve the problem? And there seems to be a real debate on that.
See you Sunday on This Week. Also on Sunday, I'll be sitting down for an exclusive interview with Anthony Scaramucci. This is his first interview after that whirlwind 10 days as White House Communications Director.